Donald Trump's favorite show is finding it increasingly difficult to defend their favorite president.
A new poll finds about 70% of Americans say groceries are more expensive now than they were a year ago. And about 60% of them are blaming President Trump.
Trump can say that the Fox News polls are rigged, but the hosts are being put in a pretty difficult position. They know that Trump's watching, but they also know that their bosses are watching, and they can't very well just tell their audience that their own numbers are fudged. The worse things get, the funnier it is to just watch them try to do this dance.
The president gave the economy an A+++++++. But you know this, I know this. The November Fox News national survey found that 76% of voters still view the economy negatively, and that's up from 67% who said the same thing in July. So you've watched these trends over the years. You've seen the ups and downs. What explains that in particular?
Well, first of all, don't forget that because of Joe Biden, then a typical family buying a typical home would have to spend $1,200 a month more on their mortgage. Because of Joe Biden, groceries went from $400 for the typical family for a month to $525. And we're making an enormous amount of progress. People's purchasing power has gone up by $1,200 already this year. But there's still room to go. And the fact is that Joe Biden dug a big hole, and we're filling the hole really fast.
One of the things that President Trump will do, no doubt, is to remind people that the economy that he inherited from Biden was the one that ramped up inflation. So because the media will always pick up on Democratic attacks like Shapiro, Newsom, et cetera, then President Trump, I think, getting out there will at least try to prevent any ground being gained by Democrats there.
He's going to try to, but the argument that the guy who's been out for a year, that it's all his fault when you've implemented a totally new economic agenda and that it's a failure in basically every corner of it, is not really resonating with people. When Joe Biden's inflation number was over 9%, the entire world's inflation number was up. Donald Trump doesn't have the same issues that Joe Biden did. He doesn't have a supply chain problem. He doesn't have a global health pandemic that was killing millions of people all over the world. He's just setting our economy on fire, and not in the good way, in like the dumpster fire way. The A++++ grade, obviously that's ridiculous. But there are some key indicators that Donald Trump and his administration knows that this is going really badly. First, Susie Wiles having to go out there and say he's going to get back on the campaign trail. That'll really animate the right. Well, guess what? It'll animate the left as well. We aren't getting the jobs numbers anymore, the GDP numbers, or the inflation numbers. And we know that Donald Trump, if a number is even remotely good, or he can lie about it, he tells you what it is. Layoffs on track for Great Recession levels. ABC says 70% are spending more on their groceries, 60% more on utilities. Reuters, manufacturing has been contracting for 9 months straight. And this farmer bailout, $12 billion of his tariff pot, which he didn't need to put the tariffs in the first place. And the farmers are speaking out about this.
What I want to know, are kids actually buying pencils at all, let alone $37 for a beautiful little girl? It is really rather remarkable when you have somebody who is a pathological liar, who thinks he can convince people that what they are seeing with their own eyes when they walk into a grocery store, or when they pay their rent, when they try to send their kids to college, or when they're paying for health care, that their eyes are deceiving them. And of course, Donald Trump is right. So I think every time he opens his mouth telling the American people that what they are seeing is wrong, I think it makes people realize how far out of touch he is with reality. Now, what I will say is that the reality that he is living in fact, is a reality where the economy is doing very, very well for his billionaire friends. So we've got to be clear that while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, he and his oligarchic friends have never, ever had it so good. So maybe, that is the reality that he is looking at.
My kids' daycare went up, can't afford the cost of food, using credit cards for everyday expenses, no money left after their bills are paid. Pretty much just a whole bunch of financial mess.
We changed presidents at the beginning of the year.
We did.
And the guy who moved into the White House said that he was going to fix it. Several times he said it would be easy.
Absolutely.
Has he fixed it?
Absolutely not. I'm definitely waiting for him to fix it.
Jones is a 3-time Trump voter, but she says he has simply failed to keep his promise to lower the cost of living.
I'm very let down by that. Very, very let down because I feel like it's only gotten worse.
There's nothing like a groggy sounding billionaire telling you need fewer things going into Christmas. Here's the thing about Trump and this affordability problem. Voters absolutely know this is Trump's economy. They are trying to do this thing where they say, oh, well, we're digging ourselves out of the terrible Biden economy. Even if Republican voters are up for kind of saying, well, Trump has a big mess to fix, we've got to give him some time. Nobody thinks things are getting less expensive. Everybody knows prices are going up. It is the number one thing I hear from Republicans, independents, Democrats. Everything is too expensive. The other thing they know is that one of the reasons it is more expensive is because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Like, because Donald Trump made such a big deal about the tariffs, because he talked about them so relentlessly, he owns the tariffs and he owns this economy. There is no passing the buck. I do not hear from voters saying, well, you know, this is all Joe Biden's fault. Like, even the ones who like Trump, who thinks that they need to give him more time, are kind of rubbing their hands together saying, boy, I thought things were going to get better faster. Yeah, I know he needs time, but the tariffs are not helping things. And so this is an Achilles heel like Donald Trump has never had, not just because things are so bad for people, but because it is on the issue that they hired him to handle. They believed the Trump salesman selling them the Trump steak, the Trump university, the Trump, hey, I'm going to lower your grocery prices on day one. And they are feeling that lie now.
I'd like to know whether, on balance, looking at the entirety of the president's second term so far, you approve or disapprove of what this administration has done since it took over in January. By a show of fingers, who approves? Got Ashley? Just one of you. And who disapproves? By a show of fingers, who's seen significant increases in prices this year for things you buy regularly?
Trump's whole act has fallen apart. He no longer has the charisma to pull off the things he's trying, and he's getting increasingly desperate. He can't control his emotions either, and his policy decisions seem utterly irrational. Polling shows that Trump is deeply unpopular with the public, but I suspect he's increasingly unpopular among his own administration, too. If you enjoyed that, then make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming a member. So you're probably wondering, why would I do that? Well, when you do that, you get access to bonus content that I make every single week, and it's a lot of fun. You get custom emojis and more. If you join at tier 3, by the way, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself. And you'll get all that going forward, but you'll also unlock years of the back catalog that is literally 100 or more bonus clips and top 10 lists and debates and more. So what are you waiting for?